Last week was governed by Hexagram 56, the Wanderer. It was a week of movement without settlement, of value without ownership, of presence without permanence. Something was working. Something was available, but it was not meant to be secured. The Wanderer describes a condition where you are not on home ground. You may be moving through territory that offers resources, opportunity, or recognition. There may have been moments of stability or affirmation, even a sense that things were finally lining up, but none of it was meant to be fortified. Influence in this landscape must be carried lightly. Power remains quiet here. It does not come from assertion or confidence. It comes from conduct. What protected the field last week was modesty. What weakened it was assumption. There was a subtle temptation when things appeared to be going well, to settle in too quickly, to treat a moment of alignment as proof of arrival, to assume that what was present could now be claimed. That impulse was gently cautioned against. What endured last week did so because it was not overreached. What strained did so when it was grasped. The ground was temporary. The value was real. But ownership was not supported. The Wanderer does not indicate instability. It indicates passage. It names a moment where correct behavior matters more than momentum, where attention matters more than speed, where restraint becomes the form of protection. That experience clarified something essential. Power does not always increase through expansion. Sometimes it is preserved through humility. That understanding sets the tone for what follows. The I Ching reading for this week is Hexagram 20, changing at line 5 to Hexagram 23. Hexagram 20 describes a condition of viewing, not distance, not withdrawal, but clear seeing from a position of responsibility. This is a week where awareness itself carries influence. What is noticed shapes what can continue. What is overlooked weakens quietly, without announcement. Line 5 emphasizes correct perception. Seeing accurately becomes the work. Intervention does not. From this position, the role is not to manage outcomes. It is to recognize what is supported and what is not. Clarity precedes action. Perception precedes release. When seeing is correct, effort becomes unnecessary. From this vantage point, the energy moves toward Hexagram 23. Hexagram 23 describes stripping away, not through conflict, not through force, but through inevitability. What is no longer supported begins to fall away on its own, not as punishment, not as failure, as correction. This is not collapse, it is completion. Nothing needs to be dismantled. Nothing needs to be confronted. Nothing needs to be pushed to an ending. What dissolves does so quietly once attention withdraws. What remains does so because it still has integrity. This is not a week for effort. It is a week for accuracy. When perception is correct, release follows without strain. When seeing is clear, what cannot endure completes its own ending. The ethical container for this week comes from chapter 37 of the Tao Te Ching, translated by Stephen Mitchell. The Tao never does anything, yet through it all, things are done. This teaching describes power that does not strain, action that does not force outcomes, alignment that does not need to assert itself. Nothing is compelled here. Nothing is resisted. When nothing is imposed, what is essential remains. When nothing is forced, what is unnecessary falls away. This principle governs the week precisely. What needs to happen will happen without insistence. What is no longer viable will dissolve without confrontation. This is not a call to withdraw from life. It is a call to stop interfering with processes that are already correcting themselves. Effort that seeks control creates resistance. Alignment that trusts timing allows completion. Stillness here is not empty. It is active. It is observant. It is informed. This week favors restraint that allows things to finish in their own time, quiet that reveals what noise obscures, presence that replaces pressure. So the question to hold this week is not what you should do next. It is this: what completes itself when you stop trying to complete it?